What if I told you that your local police department, yes, right there in your own hometown, may already be working directly with ICE to enforce federal immigration law? Hello, everyone. I'm Jared Zisser. Tonight, I have a special report that every American needs to hear. This isn't a theory. It's happening right now under a program most Americans have never even heard of, 287G. And what's coming next could change policing and civil rights across this country. Stick around because this story isn't about immigration. It's about power, freedom, and the government redefining who police really serve. What is 287G? 287G is a little-known program that gives ICE immigration and custom enforcement the power to form formal agreements with local police. But to really understand how we got here, we have to go back to 1996 when Congress passed the Illegal Immigration Reform and Immigrant Responsibility Act.
We are a nation of immigrants, but we are also a nation of laws. It is wrong and ultimately self-defeating for a nation of immigrants to permit the kind of abuse of our immigration laws we have seen in recent years, and we must do more to stop it.
That law created Section 287G of the Immigration and Nationality Act, giving the Secretary of Homeland Security, now Kristi Noem, the power to enter into written agreements with local police agencies. It allows trained local officers to perform certain immigration duties at the expense of the state or county, and only in ways that consent with local laws. For years, these agreements were rare, but once signed, they give local officers authority to carry out immigration enforcement functions. They can identify, detain, and begin deportation processes. As of this year, ICE has active 287G agreements with about 150 local police agencies in nearly 20 states, and Trump's administration is pushing to expand that number rapidly. And they are doing it so quietly that nobody even knows this is happening. There's no headlines, there's no congressional debates, just hundreds of deals, some in counties that never wanted this program in the first place. And if you think this is just happening at the border, I need you to think again. 287G has been signed in places like North Carolina, New Jersey, Idaho, and Ohio. And in those places, even a minor traffic stop could lead to an immigration hold and eventually a deportation. So here's what 287G looks like on the ground. Local officers receive limited ICE training, often just about 4 to 6 weeks, and then they are cleared to enforce federal immigration law. They can question a person's status, they can flag them in the system, they can even issue ICE detainers and hold them for removal. This is happening in local jails. It's happening on roadside pullovers. Sometimes it even happens without any formal charge being filed. People who are living legally in the U.S., asylum seekers, DACA recipients, or those with work permits can be swept up by officers who aren't immigration lawyers, just local cops with federal powers and 4 to 6 weeks of training. In Texas, new law requires local enforcement to cooperate with ICE detainers, even if local leaders object. But formal 287G agreements remain voluntary. What starts as a speeding ticket can end as a family separation case. Just so you know, not everyone is staying silent. Key West, Florida, and parts of Illinois have refused to join. Local mayors and city councils have called the program dangerous, divisive, and bad for policing. Some sheriffs have walked away from agreements saying they don't want their deputies spending time on federal immigration instead of, their job, local public safety. Law enforcement leaders from major cities have warned that partnerships with ICE lead to fewer witnesses reports, less community cooperation, and increased fear among residents, even legal immigrants. When police become immigration agents, communities stop trusting them, rightfully so. Domestic violence victims don't call for help. Witnesses don't show up to testify. People go into hiding even if they're here legally. This program destroys the community police relationship, and it makes everyone less safe. Let me give you some real examples. In Georgia, a dad of 4 was arrested after a minor accident. No damage, no injuries, but during booking, local police used 287G authority to flag him. Within 48 hours, he was in ICE custody. And guess what? 2 weeks later, he was deported. His kids are still in school. His wife, a U.S. citizen, had no chance to even say goodbye. In Tennessee, a pregnant woman was detained after a traffic stop. She was denied access to care for nearly a week while ICE reviewed her file. Get this, guys. She had a green card. And yes, there are documented cases of U.S. citizens also being detained under 287G by mistake. The government has been sued. Settlements have been paid. And get this, a study by the ACLU found that counties with 287G agreements have no lower crime rate than those without them. But they do have higher rates of racial profiling and civil rights lawsuits. So why is this happening, and why is it happening so fast? Trump's administration knows that Congress won't pass a national deportation plan. So instead, they are building one from the inside out. 287G allows them to create a shadow immigration force using local police sheriffs and jails to carry out a massive expansion of deportations without spending new money or facing congressional opposition. States that don't want to participate are being pressured, intimidated, or even outright forced through state laws, budget cuts, and public shaming. This isn't just about who we deport, it's about who gets to decide. If you want to know whether your local sheriff or police department is part of 287G, check the link in the description. And if this concerns you, tell your city council, ask the police chief, write your state rep. This is happening in the shadows, and it only stops when we bring it into the light. My name is Jared Zisser. You can follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube for all breaking news, all news, deep dives, and always the full story.